Hello everybody, Corey here. In this video we will be going over the daily roundup for the single stock ETF, YieldMax ETFs. As a reminder, I am not a licensed investment or financial advisor. YieldMax ETFs are extremely risky. You can see below all of the risks that are defined on the YieldMax ETF website. So please ensure that you know what you're investing in and understand the risk before doing so. Okay, so we're going to jump right in here, and we're looking at the trades. There were some trades done today. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 ETFs with trades. I am not going to read every number here, but we will go over the highlights of these. That's interesting. Look at Tesla, or Tesla. Well, I guess I'll figure out what all is going on there when I do the trades and holdings. Anyway, so AIYY, we have a negative 56,000. AMDY, positive 13,000. Coney is up, has received I can't even talk. Received 1.7 million. Phoebe 6.65 thousand. MSFO 164,000. Misty paid out 243,000, and Tesla brought in 8.6 million. So I'm just glancing here, it looks like they closed out some of their short calls. Like, this is irritating. I can't wait. Let me see. Tesla. I remember seeing a lot of trades last night when I did this, and I apologize. I'm trying not to talk extremely loud, but I am trying to talk into the microphone of the iPad. Oh, it's gonna end up swapping my screen if I do that too much. But my daughter is trying to sleep in the room next to me, and my husband is in the back bedroom. So I'm in the middle of the living room / my office / the kitchen doing these videos. I'm looking at it on my computer, so I don't have to swap back around. So they closed out a portion of their synthetic, which brought in all that money. And I say a portion because I'm pretty sure that their holdings, I'm pretty sure they have a lot more. Oh yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, I bet I know why. Let's see. Yep. I know the suspense, right? So my guess is, at least on some of these, I don't know, I guess it could be one of two things. It could be that a bunch of people sold out when it went up. So they ended up having to sell some. And I only say that because, okay, no, I see now. I should unfilter this because this is making it hard for me to. Alright, so I unfiltered, and now I can just go down to my Tesla section for my trades, and not trying to look in between everything else. And somehow I missed this one. But yeah, they're short calls, strike prices. I guess it was just the one. They might have more, but they only closed out one, which means they definitely have more. Oh yeah, that other one looks bad too. I guess they're hoping or thinking it's going to come back down, which pre-market earlier I did see it was 180 something because that was the first thing I checked. But what they did do is close out the 177.50. Of course, to close that out cost them about 19 almost $19.3 million to close out those short calls. And actually looking here, okay, yeah. So this is 17 or 18 right there, but that's because that's the net trades, right? So they had to pay, like I said, about almost 19.3 million to close those out because they ended up paying around $18 a share to close them out because Tesla jumped so much. I think it got up to 198 something yesterday, and our strike was 177.50, and then they only took a portion. Make sure, yeah, they only took a portion of what they closed out, and which then makes me wonder, which is what I started talking about a while ago, if that was because people sold out, though they usually do those in separate lines, but sometimes I've been seeing them recently combining things, so I don't know if some people sold out, so then when they bought back in, they only got back in with so many shares or so many contracts. Because what they did is when they closed out the synthetic and the short call, they had 10,790 contracts. And when they got back in with their new positions, there's only 6,690. So there's 4,100 that they did not get back in with. So I don't know if it's, like I said, if that's because people sold out, which I would expect so. I know some people have been bag holders and been wanting to get out, but it could just be, maybe they want to wait and see what it does and see if they get back in. But usually when they do that, they like half their shares or something, and this was an odd amount. So, of course, now with that said, they still have a short call that is over the strike price, like I said. But they ended up having to close out. Well, there's two reasons I would expect that they closed out the synthetics. One, definitely, they had to pay a $19 million bill. The other one, or maybe they just, I was going to say, it's not, I don't know that it would be anything to do with the concentration rule. Maybe they just did a higher strike price for the synthetic because price-wise, I guess, which would make sense. So the new synthetic strike price that they put on was 195. Sorry, I know I'm talking around and I'm not showing you, but I guess you'll see them in the trades and holdings, which then means if you actually wanted to know this, you would have seen it then. You would see it then and watch that video. So I apologize for taking the extra time to look at this, but I was personally curious because, like I said, I don't truly go over really looking at the trades until I do the video. I just try to make sure the data's there and that it's somewhat accurate. So I apologize for taking the extra time to look at that, but that's what's going on here. Anyway, let's see if I can make up a little bit of time. Here's our net assets and outstanding shares if you want to see those. Same thing here. Here's our current and the NAV and the difference between those. And then here are the stock prices. So Friday's close, which is the yesterday's close. Column current is technically current, but it's also Monday's close price, and then the change there. I won't read through all of these like we tend to do, but you can see the biggest loser here is Coney with negative 5%. We have a couple of 1%. Let's say Phoebe and GUI was down 1%. MSFO was down 6 cents. YBet, you can see at the bottom, was down 1%, and Ulti was down 2 cents. As far as who was up, obviously the biggest winner was Tesla, being up 7% or $1. Everybody else, well, we have a couple of 2%, so AMDY and Apple were up 2%. We have several that closed exactly where they opened. AMZ, Netflix, and Squee. And then the rest are 1 to 0%. We're just going to move on because I'm sorry, I know I spent way too much time on the other. So here's the IVs if you want to see those, and distribution estimate based on the IV only, today's current IV if you want to see those, along with Friday's close price and yesterday's close price. Again, I'm sorry I didn't remind, but if you are new, you could screenshot or pause the video for all of those sections that you might want to see. And then if we look at the underlying here, obviously still biggest loser was Coney at negative 8%, then Alphabet with negative 3%, biggest winner being Tesla at up 15%. And then it looks like Moderna was up 3%. Everybody else is like 0 to 1. And then if we look at the difference between our underlying, our YieldMax ETF and the underlying, obviously our biggest difference is going to be Tesla and Tesla. There's a 9% difference there, with Tesla obviously being the winner. Then we have a couple of 2% here. So Coin was down 8%, while Coney was down 5%. So that's a 2% difference, with Coney being better. And Moderna was up 3%, while Murni was up 1%. So that, again, that's a difference of 2%. And then I missed Alphabet apparently. So Alphabet was down 3%, and GUI was down only 1%. Everything else is like a 0 or 1 percentage, so we won't go into more detail than that. And then we can see all of our blues there. So let's just look here at the bottom. So it looks like yesterday the S&P I didn't realize we were up yesterday, but this says the S&P. Now I did copy and paste values this morning. Hopefully that shouldn't have changed anything, because the market hasn't opened yet for the day. But anyway, the S&P, it shows, was up 0.32%, and the NASDAQ was up 0.36%. But we were up. However, it looks like 9 of the, or 47% of the YieldMax ETFs did better than the underlying. So usually that only happens when we're negative on a day. Well, I say only, we're really closer to 50-50 there. All right, so let's move on. Let's look at our days to recovery, meaning how many days did it take us to recover from the last distribution, which we're about to have to close this out because we're fixing to have another announcement. I'm just going to try to scooch these over so we can get everything in here. All right, so we had all of our old ones, and then now we have a new winner here. So Tesla obviously recovered yesterday, so making it the 5th ETF to recover from its dividend distribution, as you can see. And it took 20 days to do that. There's 22 days in this pay period. But just look, using this one as an example. Of course, you can always pause this and go in through detail of all of these. But Tesla here closed on April 3rd at 15.54, which would have been declaration day, the day before the ex-dividend date, before the dividend drop. And then today we're at 16.05. And the and our difference is currently, we are up 51 cents to that. And then our last dividend was 68 cents. So on top of being up that last dividend amount, we're also up $1.19. So we're up 175% from our last dividend amount there. And we don't even have anybody else in the green. The only green ones are those that had already recovered. And yes, aptly, it does not show recovered as of today. However, it did previously after 6 days. And then, of course, it's gone back down since. All right. Nope. And then we're going to just move on over here. I'm not going to go in depth into this like I've done before. I've done it many, many times. If you are new and need me to go into depth of what this section is, just let me know. But we can see here for the max strike price for the short calls, Moderna is 3% over its strike price, and ARC looks like it may be over its strike price by a few cents. And then anybody that's close, let's see, I can sort this. I may not have needed to do that because I didn't see the other column move. Did the other column move? Yeah, it did. Okay. And then within 2% of the strike price, we have Dizzo, Nestle, JPMO, and Aptly. And then within 4%, we have Zomo, AIYY, MSFO. And then 5% would be NBD, AMZ, Phoebe, and GUI. How this affects the short call market value and the percentage to share there. So Moderna here, or Merny, sorry, is down $1.24 a share, or it's down 6% to its share price there. OARC just shows negative 26 cents, or down 2.2%. And actually, so that goes with our max strike prices, but let's actually do this to our percentages here. Oh, yeah, so that would be different because in this case, as we just saw or went through a while ago, the percentage, yeah, it shows to our max strike price. We are under that by 14% because they just opened a new one. However, they have 2 short calls there. So, there we go. They have 2 short calls, and their other one, it's over the strike price by what? I don't even know what it was at the end of the day, $12-15, something like that. So it's bringing the strike price, the stock price down $1.06 by being over that. And then of course they just paid a bunch of money to close things out. But yeah, so that's to give you an idea of that section, and I'm going to move on. We will move on here. We can see those that have multiple synthetic positions. I'm going to try to get as much of this in as possible. All right, close enough for now. And this section right here is our synthetic positions. So let's sort this. We can see here, we'll use Coney as our example. Its synthetic position strike price is $260, and it's underneath that strike price by $42 or 16%. Same thing with Phoebe, it's underneath that strike price, the 515 strike price by 16%. And then the second column, you can see that Phoebe is under its second synthetic strike price, 525, by 18%. And then Tesla's the only other one that has a second synthetic position there. But we have lots of red because we started out really red. All of these, with the exception to one, the synthetics expire in less than 3 weeks. And I think it's AIYY is the one that expires this week. And then if we want to look here, how this affects our share price. So let's start here. We'll do what we did with the other one. So if we're looking at the dollar amounts, Coney is being brought down $4.47 to do the synthetic. Phoebe, negative $4. Nestle, negative $2.27. And then we have several dollar ones there. And then you can see Misty down there. It's actually up $3.54 a share due to its synthetic. Now if we change this to percentage, we're looking at Phoebe is down almost 21%, while Coney's down almost 19% there due to the synthetic positions. But anyway, I'm sorry to drag this one out, trying to figure out what was happening with Tesla to tell you. I should have just stated the amounts, and then, you could have watched the trades and holdings if you wanted to go into detail. But I apologize for that. Anyway, I hope y'all have a great day, and I will let y'all go. Thanks. Bye.